Hello, 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 Chicago Bears fans. Welcome to the Bears Den podcast number 49. It's hard to believe we're 49 shows old, but anyway, welcome to the show. And tonight is, excuse me, is our NFL draft pre show. So I obviously need a drink. So, Todd, let me go to you
Yeah.
first. What is our biggest need right now in the draft? What is our biggest need?
I still think a trench player on either side makes the most sense. I'd love to get a left tackle, and I'd love to get a edge rusher that's going to make a difference, or a three tech. I think that makes the most sense. But if we took a running back first, it wouldn't surprise me.
So, Chicago Clarence, what is our biggest need on this team as you see it?
Our biggest need is what Todd just got through saying. Um, we need an impact player on the offensive line and or defensive line. And there are some guys that I think I would be okay with picking at number 10. But if you ask me what position we should be drafting, it would be O line or D line.
So, guys, with that being said, let's do a little rewind here. So, in case you didn't hear, Kyler Gordon, we extended. He is now the highest paid nickel corner in the NFL. Todd, how do you feel about that one? Good move, bad move?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good move. I think to look at the numbers there, it's a little bit shocking, but in reality, it's a $21 million deal. It's a 3-year deal. They can get out after 2 without too much damage as far as dead cap space. So, it shows 340, but 21 is what's guaranteed. He's been a good player. He's had some injury issues early in his career, but the last, and effort wise, he's just there every time.
Yes,
if he's hurt, if he's out, he's really hurt. That's just it. He loves to play. He loves to hit. I'm a fan. I'm happy about it, and I don't. We're pretty careful under this regime not to just go crazy and overpay, and that's from what I've seen and how I feel about him. And I think this contract's in line for what he produces.
Chicago Clarence, what do you think of Kyler Gordon getting extended?
I think it was the right thing to do. I do think we overpaid a little bit. I don't think that we had to go with those numbers, but it's not really that shocking. His tenure as the highest paid nickel corner is going to be short. Someone's going to come up and up that money.
Right.
But when you figure $21 million and basically what Todd said, we can get out after 2 years, I think it's a good trade off because he does come to play. The injuries do concern me some. He has yet to play a full season at his time at Chicago, but and if you're gonna pay people and they're gonna be the highest paid player at their position, you definitely want them available to you, for 15, 16, 17 games.
So, with that being said, I don't know, most people, I did not aware of this, but basically, Ryan Poles becomes the first GM to resign his initial draft pick in many, many years.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yes.
Gordon went ahead of Brisker there. It was close. They were within 10 picks or so, but I guess that's right.
Yes, the last actual GM to resign his initial draft pick was Jim Finks when he resigned some guy named Walter Payton.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Bears fan, maybe you heard of him.
That was a solid pick.
Yeah, that was a wise move on his part. So, and then we followed that up with resigning TJ Edwards, who I think is arguably the heart and soul of our defense. Unfortunately, I think the contract should be the other way. He should be getting what Edmonds gets, and Edmonds should be getting his contract. I think he's still a steal. What do you think of this move, Todd?
It was a good move. It's linebacker money, and it's
yeah.
I'm looking at it here now. It looks like we've got a dead cap this first year. So I mean, really, honestly, it's a 2-year deal. Also, I mean, it's solid. I can't complain about that. I think we overpaid the other linebacker, but I think he'll
Remain
be gone.
Edmonds. Yes.
Yeah. After this year, I think he'll be gone. we need to focus on replacing him. But looking at over cap, and they have a valuation of 6.5, which is pretty solid for the linebacker. I think he was more impressive his first year with us, but he's a good player.
So, Guy Walker, thank you for joining us. We all know him from C&G Podcast. Don't forget, man, we're coming up to your way in June. And Skull's State of Mind says, y'all ready for the draft? Yes, sir, we are. So, Chicago Clarence, what do you think of the re-signing of TJ Edwards? Good, bad, overpaid, underpaid?
I'm happy with it. I thought it was the right move. We need to retain, like you said, the heart and soul of this defense. And, I don't really know if I would say he's the heart and soul of this defense, but he is an integral part. When you get a hold of good players, man, you keep them.
Yes.
They get in and they produce. You find a way to keep them on your team, and that's exactly what we did. I was happy with how we did it. And that just goes in tune with what we just talking about with Kyler Gordon. The guy came. He was the thing that really, and I was aware of it, but it wasn't really a lot of light shine on it when you sitting there talking about the last time a general manager re-signed his initial draft pick was way back when Walter Payton was drafted.
Was that 75? I think so.
It's like when you really start taking a deep dive into how we have conducted business over the decades.
It's been bad.
It's sad. It is really, really sad that you mean to tell me since Walter Payton was drafted and re-signed that no other general manager has been able to re-sign his initial draft pick to a second contract. That's sad.
And there it is again, in case you missed it. This is what we're referring to. Mark Potash brought up this fact.
The initial pick. Okay, I'm with you.
The initial.
We've drafted really great players and resigned them, but they're first. I got you. The first one on the game. Okay, that makes sense.
I was shocked when I saw that too. I feel like we've done okay but apparently not.
Yeah, back to this TJ Edwards thing. I didn't realize he was a UDFA. I mean, good on him. That he got lucky and went with the Eagles, who developed like nobody else. So I mean that worked out in his benefit. But 4 years in the league now, and as our 4 years with Philly and 6 years in the league as an undrafted free agent to with this, if this contract pays out, then it's about just under $44 million. That's a guy making it happen for himself. So
no doubt.
Good on him.
So again, in case you guys didn't hear, the NFL draft is upon us. So Todd, now let me go with Chicago Clarence first.
Yeah, go Clarence.
You are on the clock. You have the number 10 pick in your lap. What name are you putting in the envelope and why?
Well, first of all, I got to see how the draft comes to me, how the board comes to me.
Yes.
Tyler Warner's on my draft board.
Yeah.
Amarian Hampton is on my draft board. Of course, the left tackle for LSU is on my draft board. And to be honest with you guys, I think I'm taking Green at number 10.
Mike Green?
I think so. He feels a need. His name has gotten hot in the circles. He ain't going to be there when we select again. If we're not able to trade down, because that's my initial thing. I want to trade down. If I'm not able to trade down, I'm taking him at 10 simply because he ain't going to be there again unless and he feels one of the needs because we can address our offensive tackle or offensive line position with our second round draft pick. And then we get another one, then we can draft our running back, which is the three top needs I feel that we have in this draft. But if Green is there, I think I'm taking him if I'm not able to trade down.
Okay, let me stop you right there. Mike Green, where is he on? This is a big board off of Tankathon. So let's see. The thing I looked at Mike Green, I like Mike Green as well. The thing that gives me pause.
Green's 22 on Tankathon.
The thing that gives me pause on Mike Green is supposedly Dennis Allen likes his defensive ends long, lengthy, and big. And Mike Green is on the smaller side at 6'2", 250. He would be a beautiful 3'4" guy. So Chicago Clarence, given his size and what we know about Dennis Allen so far, you still think Mike Green?
I think that Dennis Allen will have to tailor his thought process to what this guy can do. And the thing that he does two things really well. He goes after the quarterback and he's good against the run.
No, I agree with you. 17 sacks is 17 sacks. That's
Absolutely.
to translate over in any league. But his size is what, same with the other guy from Georgia, Jalen Walker. He's on the smaller size. I don't see us sticking him.
But look at the kid, the kid from is it Boston College or Ole Miss? So you got the kid from Boston College and you got the kid from Ole Miss. Both of those guys fit his prototypical, physical traits, but neither one of them is good against the run. And the kid from Boston College, I forget his name. He don't set the edge at all. But Green does both those things for you.
As a Rocky, the problem with Green is the off the field stuff to take it 10. It's kind of, from what I've heard, I heard a little bit more today from a couple other places that they're looking past a lot of that. I don't know if they've figured out the inside stories on all that or what. But the two big edge rushers with the off the field stuff, the James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee, they're saying he's sliding more, and teams are concerned about that, and they're kind of waving off the Mike Green stuff a little bit. But I don't know, man. The Bears have a history of just staying away from that.
Have we not learned, though, Todd? I know you're not in the room making the decision, but have we not learned by watching what Jalen Carter has done for the Philadelphia Eagles? Have we not learned? That's the reason why you're supposed to be paying people on your staff to be doing this background check. What are your guys telling you? What are these people that's putting them in and bringing them in and interviewing and sitting there and talking about and finding out more in depth, letting him explain himself? Are we doing that?
There's a kind of a thing, and it's stupid because it wouldn't apply as much at 11. But if you get a guy and he has off the field troubles and that becomes an issue, and you took him in the top 10, that's a stain on you. If you trade back to you get in front of Cincinnati, who would probably take him at 17, he probably goes to Atlanta at 15. If you go back in front of there and you do it at 14, it's not that big a thing. Like if Warren's there and we're bluffing about that, and the Colts are at 14 and they want to go up and get a tight end, if you do it at 14, it doesn't tag you as much as a top 10 pick. It's stupid, but that's I think they're going to stay away from that. There's the edge rushers are projecting a little higher than they were. But I still think there's guys. Landon Jackson in the second round, we might get at 39. If he were 275, he could set an edge. Okay, maybe, but he's a good player, and his sack numbers are crazy. So
let me ask you some about Jalen Carter. We did not take Jalen Carter, A, because of off the field, and B, because we felt we didn't have a locker room that could support that kid. I think, and you know what? In hindsight, the way the locker room fell apart, we were probably right not to take him. I don't think we would have had a locker room to support that kid.
Yeah.
I think in hindsight, being 2020, the locker room, it fell apart. It went to shit. Coaching staff went to shit.
Yeah.
Like, Chicago Clarence, you think we should have taken him? What do you think would have happened if we would have taken him now, knowing that the team was going to fall to shit with him in our locker room?
Well, it's an indictment on our team.
It is.
It's an indictment on your team when you're saying that you don't have the locker room to support someone or bring someone along or have someone to take someone under their wing to make sure they fly the straight and narrow. That's what your coach is supposed to be doing. Yeah, and you didn't have the right coaching staff to begin with, and that's your fault. Right. And that's your fault. You don't sit there and let a talent like that get away simply because you feel you don't have the locker room to support and give him the kind of support that he's going to need in the locker room and off the field. That's what you're supposed to be doing as leaders. You're supposed to have those people in the building. And then we sit there and we here to talk about Caleb Williams not getting the support. It's your franchise quarterback, for God's sake. Right. And he's not even getting the support that he needs for watching film. He's got to pay for that out of his own pocket. That's an indictment on your franchise.
It is. But look, that's the situation we had. I mean, Jalen Johnson was pissed all last season. Just couldn't stand it. And Jalen Carter would have been I'm going to guess twice as bad as Johnson on that. I mean, he'd have been more vocal at that. I mean, Johnson was vocal by the end,
But you know, it's hard not to sit there and salivate. Now, I'm not even going to say, but you know, we're the same franchise that passed on Patrick Mahomes, and we're sitting there thinking about, okay, well, we didn't have the quarterback. I mean, the coaching to even make Patrick Mahomes be the Patrick Mahomes. I get that, but at the same time, don't you sit there and salivate on what Jalen Carter would have looked like on this defensive line? I mean, as dominant as that dude was in the playoffs and the Super Bowl, he refused to be blocked, and that's the type of guy we need. Now, we did get us an offensive tackle. We needed a right tackle. We got that, and I'm not sitting there saying, "Oh, well, we should." That's not what I'm saying, because we had two needs. We filled one of them. I get it, but I'm just sick and tired of hearing some of the reasons on why we do what we do when it's something that we should be controlling.
Yeah, when it's like when you just admit that, hey, we're not emotionally capable to deal with this guy. We don't have leadership that can take him and like the Eagles, which obviously they do, take him and develop him into what he needs to be. We're just throwing in the towel immediately. But we weren't going to be. It's embarrassing. It
is. And I mean, it's our fault that the Eagles run their franchise a lot better than we do. So,
right.
Yeah. So Todd.
Yes, sir.
You're on the podium. Pick 10. Who are you taking?
Well, I've got 7 guys that are eligible. Now,
okay, you only can pick one.
3 or 4 of them aren't going to get to us, so we just, it's the usual suspects, obviously. But the guys that could get to us, I mean, in a crazy scenario, Mason Graham gets to us. I don't think that ever happens, but he's my number one of guys that could get there. I got Graham, Genty, Will Campbell, which I don't think he gets there now. I got Warren and Memdu. Those guys are worthy of a top 10 pick. It's only 7 guys, and so there's 9 spots. I'm not counting the quarterback. So 9 spots, and I've got 7 guys. There's a good chance that none of them are going to be there. So that's what I think the most legit shots we have are Genty, Warren, and Membu. And probably Tyler Warren is the guy that's going to be there the way that I see it now.
So there's Mel Kiper's big board. At number 10, he thinks we should take Hampton. I know Clarence absolutely loves Hampton. I'm not saying he's a bad running back. But for house money, the 10th best player on the board is Hampton, according to Mel Kiper.
Well, yeah, that's just Mel Kiper. But I think at 10 – If the main guys, my list, my order, if all those guys are gone, I've got Will Johnson and Hampton. If we take Hampton, I'd like to trade back then, but I think there's a real solid chance Dallas takes Hampton at 12. And if you want one of the two main running backs in this draft, then good chance you have to take him at 10.
So I've gone back and forth since this draft has started. Like, I'm almost convinced we're going to grab, as Chicago Clarence says, that we're going to grab a shiny new toy. I really think we're going to take either Warren or Genty at number 10. I really do. All of a sudden, Will Campbell is hot, and he's projected to go 4th to the Patriots in a lot of mock drafts. But that's who I would have taken if I could. So I think we need to build this offensive line. I don't love anybody on the defensive line after Graham and after Carter at number 10. I can't get on board with Jalen Walker because of his size. Shamar Stewart, I cannot get on board with.
Well, for his size, you can.
Yes, and that's the thing about Shamar. His size but
he's perfect.
Production's not there.
He just doesn't play. Yeah, he doesn't finish.
So Clarence, would you grab Hampton at 10?
When we did this show and talked about him about a month ago, I was all on board with that. But I've had a chance to sit there and look at this again. And as much as I love Hampton, I'm not taking him at 10. We just have too many other needs. We can get an offensive lineman, and we can get, Judkins with a 2nd-round pick, and he fills the need that we have. I mean, Judkins is an explosive player. And God forbid if Trevion Henderson is there. I'd like him too.
They
Yeah.
You
can
know,
both
you
be
talk
there.
about that dude being able to take it to the house. All of them do the same things that Hampton can do, and it's just a matter of not falling in love with the shiny toy. You
Yeah.
know, we know the offensive line is not a glamour position, but damn it, that's what we need.
Yeah.
That's where we have issues. And we got to start thinking about what's going to happen with these people that we just signed in the offseason and traded for. What is going to happen when they, because there's some of them are a little long on the tooth. We got to
Joe
Right.
start
Thuney.
thinking about the guard position. We definitely
Yeah.
need to start thinking about the tackle position because you guys know I can't stand Braxton Jones.
Yeah,
So
the Tooney extension, I think, is pretty close. I think that's going to happen. So,
oh, that's definitely going to happen.
but
It has to
yeah,
get his cap number down.
I think that if Hampton slides past Dallas, he's there at 20. You know, with the Broncos probably, and that would be the next spot of the Steelers.
He's not making it
21.
past Dallas. Dallas is taking him all the way.
They really could use a receiver, and if Ted McMillan's there at 12, they might go that way. But I don't know. If Membu's gone and Warren, I think they would take Warren over Membu. I think that they'll take Genty over Warren, but I think they'd be happy with Warren. But if all those guys are gone, they might take Walter Nolan and see what's there in the second round. Because
That'd be a big
still
leap.
at 10, we need okay, these are the teams picking in front of us, right? The other questionable teams that'll do something stupid. I mean, the Giants are in a predicament. The coaching staff needs to do something to win, so maybe they take a player. Jacksonville's got a rookie GM, you know, an offensive minded coach. Maybe they do something silly. I don't know. Patriots, they could trade back. That 4 spot is attractive.
Yes.
But they need a lineman to protect Drake May.
Yeah, but they may think that they can get Membu at 10. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just an idea. But Vegas could do something crazy. The Jets always make mistakes. But you know the Panthers are going to do something. I mean, they probably do. Like, I keep hearing Jalen Walker to them. So if that happens, that frees up a spot for us. And the Saints, I think the Saints are tanking. I mean, I think that they could go. They could go Shamar Stewart. Just like maybe we can develop this guy.
Don't they have to go Shedeur Sanders? Derek
Well,
Carr is now done for the year. He's probably done for his career in New Orleans.
I need Shedeur to be in the top 10.
Yes, so do I. We both do. All of us do.
Or McMillan or Johnny Barron or Walker. If any of those guys get in there, then that really forces probably Warren to us or at least Membu to us. So I think
Would any of you guys, Chicago Clams, I'll go to you first. Would you take Membu at 10, knowing he's a right tackle and hoping he can switch to the left? Because I hate doing that. That to me doesn't work out.
This is exactly what I was getting ready to say. Every time we start messing with these guys' positions, it has never worked out. When we had Kyle Long there, we tried him at every position, but when he played right guard, he was a Pro Bowl player. And we stopped moving him around, and we saw what happened. So I'm not doing that. That makes no sense. Why? We already got our guy. Unless you telling me that he can play left tackle, then why would we do it?
There's no guarantee there.
No, there's not a guarantee there. I mean, I like Membu as well, but I don't like him if I'm gonna have. I mean, he's actually the 6th graded player.
See,
6th highest paper. So you actually get value if you take him at 10. You are getting a return because you were taking him lower than he's graded.
But he's playing a position that we're already set there.
Right.
And then Tyler Warren is 7th. Jalen Walker's 8th. Shedeur Sanders, that's fine with him 9 and Cam Ward 10. So then for house money,
Who did this mock draft?
This is not a mock draft. This is not a mock. This is just
general
big board.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have Travis Hunter as the best prospect in this draft,
and I think he is.
Abdul Carter 2nd. Mason Graham 3rd. Genty is 4th. So let me ask you guys: all this heat with. If Genty drops us at 10, we should take him, shouldn't we? He's the 4th highest rated player in this draft. I know Chicago Clarence is already rolling his eyes. I know Chicago Clarence is dead set, but you're talking about the fourth highest graded player in this draft.
If he's there, they're going to take him.
Oh, I think the Chicago
they're
Bears.
gonna-
I think
They-
the Bears
they
as an
love him.
organization is going to take him. But Chicago, you do not take him no matter what, do you, Clarence?
There's no way I take him at it. There's no way. There's no way. The dude is 5'8", for God's sake.
Yeah.
He's 5'8". Look at the level of competition that he has played against his whole time in college. Look at the defenses he's ran all over. You know, we just
Yeah,
have too
5'8".
many other needs. You know, if okay, let's say for instance, let's say this was draft 2026, right?
Mhm.
And we had our line set, and now we're in a position where we can draft best player available. Then you could probably talk me into it.
So what's let me ask you guys this. What's the difference if we shiny new toys? What's the difference if we take Warren or Genty? Is there a
Because we have
difference?
other needs. We have bigger needs.
But both of you guys
Well-
just said Warren's on your board. You would take him.
I wouldn't take Warren over an offensive tackle or even a defensive tackle. I just wouldn't do it. We have
Well, there's-
other needs.
But I mean, you're specifically talking left tackle, so you're talking Will Campbell and I guess Kelvin Banks. But I think he projects in a guard. Honestly, that's what a lot of people say. The most true left tackle in the
It's Josh
round
Simmons.
is Josh Simmons. You going to take him at 10?
I would take Josh Simmons at 10.
So this is what our offensive line coach said. This is his quote. When the film starts or when the film goes on, you don't see short arms.
Right.
I don't
No,
see that either. I would
Yeah,
play him at left tackle.
I've come around. I'm pretty comfortable with Campbell.
I know.
at
To me,
tackle.
if you can
But-
play in the SEC and not give up sacks and hold your own, you can play left tackle.
Yep, you
But
can. Yeah. But I just think he's going to be gone.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Patriots, Vegas could do it. The Jets would probably do it. The Panthers might even do that. The Saints is a local kid. I mean, that makes all this, especially if they're going to tank. Let's get that. I mean, that makes sense to me too. So
Drafting a left tackle before a quarterback is I would laugh my ass off if they did that.
well, they should take Shador, but I don't know that they
They're almost going to have to, aren't they?
Well, their offensive coordinator is that Nussmeier guy. His son is the quarterback at LSU and is projected as a first rounder. They're talking first round for next year. I mean, I think they might just have decided to tank already.
That's hard to believe that a team would decide to tank already. I don't know if I can get on board.
That's
with that.
unheard of, isn't it?
No,
I mean,
it's not
before the
unheard of.
draft, before I mean, we're
That's how we
seeing
got
this before the
Caleb.
draft. So let me ask you guys. I know Todd just brought this up. Chicago Clarence, Walter Nolan. Would you take him at 10? He's actually going upward, trending up. I mean, I actually love him as a defensive tackle.
Gives us a lot of flexibility.
Yes.
I mean, I jumped in there. It's Clarence. What would you do?
To be honest with you, the more and more I've watched film and heard people talk about it, I'm kind of digging Josh Simmons.
Yeah.
The only reason why he's falling, guys, is because he had an injury last year.
Yeah.
If he does not have that injury, he's a top 5 pick.
Yeah, if he's not injured, it's Vegas or it's the Patriots. He's going ahead of Campbell.
Where does Josh Simmons rank in the big board? He is the 24th highest ranked.
Yeah, he
player.
tends
And that's
to
only
go-
because of that injury.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
I mean,
It ain't got nothing to do with his talent. It ain't got to do with his production. It's simply because of that injury.
He's usually mocked to Houston, who needs a tackle, and there's no way he gets past Kansas City, who needs somebody, obviously, and then the Eagles just smiling, saying, "Yeah, please bring it on," just sitting there waiting for whoever's great to fall. That's what.
And it's teams like Kansas City and it's teams like Philly who sit back and watch teams like us do something stupid.
Yeah.
It happens every year. That's the reason why we should absolutely shy away from doing what we really want to do and do what we need to do. Forget about the shiny ass toy, because what's Warren and Genty going to get you when your ass can't fucking block? Which we have had that problem forever.
Yeah.
Let's not fall in love with the idea that we have fixed our offensive line. We are far from that.
Let me ask you guys something. We draft an offensive lineman. He's probably not going to start this year. Don't you want that number 10 pick to be your starter?
Bullshit.
Look,
if we draft one, he's got to start.
Who are you benching?
Braxton Jones.
Okay, let me ask you this. According to the draft experts, no left tackle grades out better than Braxton Jones right now.
Right.
What
And
game are they watching?
No, that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
look, you're projected as college kid. Braxton started for a long time. There's Connerly at the beginning of the second
Shouldn't
round
we-
that he could be a
Yeah.
there's second round.
And we
guys
could
too.
maybe pick up Josh Simmons in the second round because he's
I
sliding
don't.
because of the
I
injury.
mean, if you trade, I don't. This if Kansas City there in Buffalo, any of those teams, they're going to jump on that talent. Even if they can redshirt a guy for a year and not think about it.
But don't we need
So-
to go defensive line number 10? Because at least anybody we grab on the defensive line is at least going to be in the rotation. He's at least going to get playing time, a significant amount. And let me ask you guys, say we go defensive line number 10. Who are you putting on the bench to get this kid as a starter?
Well, if it's Graham, for sure. I mean, obviously
Yes.
that's what I do. And Kenneth Grant I wouldn't do him at 10, but I think he's a first rounder. And Derek Carmen out of Oregon, I think he's a first round. But I think that you just put him in a rotation with if you move Dexter out a little bit, then you can do that, and you're rotating in Grady Jarrett. I think, I think you could start. You could start Nolan and Dexter, and then rotate in Grady. I just
Jared
that makes sense to me. Jarrett
and Billy.
and
As of this morning, that's who
Walter Nolan. Yeah,
That's who is signed as our defensive line. So we have
Yeah.
Sweat is going to be a starter. Deo is going to be a starter. And then I guess you can start arguing about Jarrett, Billings, and Dexter. Who's going to
it'd be Dexter, Nolan, Sweat, and Deo, and then you're bringing in Grady Jarrett on obvious passing downs to rush the passer. And then Booker and Hardy probably are your third and fourth ends. That makes sense.
Chicago Clarence, do you agree with that? We have to go defense 10.
We don't have to go defensive 10 at 10,
No.
but like I said,
No.
if I'm drafting at 10, I'm drafting somebody who's going to be starting. So if
So-
you're telling me that you feel like your defensive line is already set as started, then why would you do it?
So let me ask you, who would you bench, Clint? You have to say you have to go defense at 10. Who are you benching? Just out of curiosity, who would you bench?
It'd be Javon Dexter.
I mean, I would agree with that because supposedly we're going to try Dexter at edge and a defensive tackle.
Well, I think that Deo is going to kick inside some,
Yes.
and I think that Dexter can kick outside some. So these guys are going to be interchangeable. So I think you start Dexter and Nolan, and then you bring in Grady Jarrett. That's what I think.
So
But
where's
they
Billings?
didn't bring JD, but they didn't sign Grady Jarrett to come off the bench though.
But they know that he's going to be on a snap count, and I mean
So
he can
where-
start, and then you're just
So-
going to be moving those guys in and out.
So where's Andrew Billings playing? He's our best defensive line run stopper.
We
We got gouged against the run when he was not in there.
What's
should
his
be on
ETA though? What's
He
his
should be on
ETA
a
for
snap
running
count
back?
too, though. He should be pretty limited too, just based on his age.
I mean, I'm just
Is he even
asking-
going to be ready for the start of the season?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, he tore a bicep. Was it tore
Yes.
bicep or trap?
Yeah,
Whatever.
that was bad, wasn't it? Yeah, I forgot what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's our offensive line as of this morning. The players signed 2 contracts. Jonah Johnson and Thuney are going to be our guards. Dahlman's going to be our center. Wright is going to be our right tackle. And then I guess you can start the argument about, and Braxton Jones, for all we know, may not even be ready when training camp opens. It was a pretty gruesome break. But to me, the only position I see as a starter is potentially left tackle.
Yeah, no,
Especially
that's the
if-
only one.
If Jones
Well-
can't go, we see it all the time on every team every year. A rookie gets drafted, a veteran can't make it. He slides in there, he takes his spot.
I mean, obviously, based on the contract sizes, you know who the starters are. I mean, it's the only
Yeah.
spot is left tackle. Yeah, if Braxton's not ready to start the season, it's an issue.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that with your offensive line that there should be any question marks. Braxton Jones is a question mark. If you're telling me that you're ready to take the next step, and our goal should be to make the playoffs, well then you know that you got a question mark at the left tackle. But even if he wasn't injured, he's still a question mark. He is the weakest link on that line right now. Can we all at least agree on that? He is the weakest link. So if you have an opportunity to improve that, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
No,
but
I agree.
I think the only guy, Simmons, could have probably challenged him if he had not gotten hurt. I think Will Campbell would take the spot.
And I'm okay with drafting Will Campbell at 10 and
but I don't
letting
think that's
him
going to happen.
and letting him ride the bench for 1 year. And then he can be our first tackle off the bench, and he can be our emergency guard off the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be, and then
But I think
Jones or
the only-
Thuney, one and two is out. One and two is going to be out. Thuney or Braxton Jones, 1 and 2 is going to be out. We're not going to re-sign both of them.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can afford to. They're going to sign. They're going to do. They may do this extension tomorrow. I think they try to do it before the draft. So, I mean, I think this is, and I think they've already decided to do it. So I think that they're either going to take a guy in the top 10, or they're going to maybe take Josh Connerly at 39, or I don't know. There's a couple guys you could get maybe at 72 and hope to develop them.
So Todd, right there is a second round potential.
Yeah.
Who would you take right there?
So who have I taken in the first round?
I don't know. You tell me who you've taken.
All right, let's say Genty fell to us. So we solved the running back problem.
So you're going with Genty.
Yeah, that's what they'll do if he's there. So based on that, I think that you have to probably, if this is Mel Kiper's. What is he?
This is a big board, a general big board.
This is Kiper's big board, right?
No, this is Tankathons. Kiper's,
Tankathons. Yeah, you got
Kiper only did 35 players.
Okay, well, all right. So I think, I don't know, I don't see him here, but I think that if we do that, then we do a combination of I'd like an offensive line and defensive line. So the guy I'm not seeing, but I think has a chance to be the guy Connerly that I mentioned. He's a left tackle out of Oregon. He would be high on our list. If we have to go, is he on? So they've got him at 33. So I don't know. There's a chance he gets there. So that would be a true tackle. Let's go down to the next. What else do they got after 34? If I'm going defense, I'm taking. Well, Scorton is more of a fit for us. As far as being able to set the edge. I think that's a good fit. I like Donovan Jackson, the other Ohio State player, but I don't think he's going to play. He's played some tackle because he had to play when Simmons got hurt, but I think he's probably going to be a guard. He's 6'3.5", so I think that makes sense. I like him a little bit. I took the running back, so I like Schlesinger, the linebacker out of UCLA, but we don't need him till next year. I love Watts, the tight end. I would do that, so we have 2 picks there. So, I mean, let's see. Anyway, but that's any of those combinations. I think that I like Mason Taylor, that tight end. I don't like him at 47. At 72, I like him a lot. Tyleik Williams is a run stopper. He's the best run stopper in the draft. At 43, I like that player.
Yes, I do too.
I don't want to take a defensive back in here at all. If somebody like Luther Burden fell to 39, you'd have to look at it as a third receiver. But I don't think that's real important to us right now. There's a lot of hype around Jaden Higgins at 48, Ursery at 50. He's developmental, but he's a true tackle. I mean, without a doubt, he's so. Ursery and Connerly are my offensive tackles. I like Landon Jackson, who I don't see there. He may be a little higher than that.
He's at 51.
Is he that low? So Landon Jackson. I like Jackson higher than Scorton, but that's just me. He's real athletic, but he's real raw. And I think if I took an offensive tackle, I'd really look at that safety position. Except for there's a wild card. This is just me thinking out loud, right? if all those guys are gone, we trade back or if we take Will Johnson to 10, who was a legit top 5 guy going into the season before he got hurt. I'd like Will Johnson. You know, I don't really want to draft a cornerback, but I think maybe we kick one over to safety and solve that safety problem, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. One of those two things. I don't love picking 10th. And
No.
We talked a little bit about this before. Andy, you want to talk about the if the Green Bay if situation?
No, I'll let Clarence go first. Clarence, so you choose Mike Green. Is that your pick at 10?
Yeah.
So where are you going with our first pick in the second round?
Trevion Henderson.
So you're going running back.
Yep.
Who would you take with the next pick? And here's our picks, by the way, for all of you that do not know: 10, 39, 41, 72, 148, 233, and 240. Do you love somebody after Trevion Henderson with the next pick?
Probably I'll be looking at the best offensive tackle at that pick. Is probably who I'll be going with. But I also like Xavier Watts for safety as well. He could fill right in, and he would pretty much give us the same thing that not Jalen Johnson, but Brisker is giving us right now. He's a hard hitter. He's a ball hawk. He takes the ball away. So Xavier Watts,
Watts probably goes higher than 52. Yeah.
Trevion Henderson, I'm definitely taking. If he's on the board at 39, I'm running up there with the card.
Yeah.
So
and there's your shiny toy that you
Yes.
that they're so in love with trying to draft at 10. There's your shiny toy right there.
So with that being said, Clarence, you weren't quite logged in. So let me ask you something. Last game of the year, we beat Green Bay. It cost us 3 spots. If we would have lost that game, we would be picking 7th. Now, in hindsight, being 2020, was that win worth it?
Absolutely.
10th and 7th. That's a big difference. We would be picking where the Jets are picking at 7. I mean, I'd rather have to win. I'd rather have to win, too. I always enjoy beating Green Bay.
I say it because the guy that the Bears are salivating over is still going to be gone. You know, 2 of the people that's on their board is going to be gone, and that's Genty and that's Campbell. I think that both of those guys will be going at 7. So really and truly, you had to break the monotony of losing or playing the Green Bay Packers. It ain't a rival if one side always wins, and we always lose to the Packers. And to sit there and beat them with our new quarterback and beat them in their building. And then we can sit there and we can hang the hat on. But had it not been for stupidity from our head coach, we would have swept him. When is the last time that we can say that we were a non-playoff team and we still swept the Packers, who ended up going to the playoffs? That shit ain't never happened. So,
yeah, we were talking about before you got on, and we both agreed. Yeah, I mean, I take the win every time. The only player I see that should definitely be there at 7. That might not be there at 10, and it's because the Jets are it's popping up in mocks. It would be Warren. He could go 7 to the Jets, and I think of all the guys that I have listed on my board, he has the biggest chance of being there at 10 anyway. Obviously, I'd take the win, even if he's not there. I'm not saying that this would make it right. Plus, it was Virginia's last game.
Yes, it was.
So
yes.
That's I obviously would take the win.
And I will tell you the one benefit of being at 7 that would have greatly helped us is it would have made it a lot more easier to trade up and get Graham.
Yeah.
Which you could have. I wouldn't have wanted to trade up to get Genty, but you definitely could have talked me into trading up to get Graham.
Let me ask you this, Clarence. You weren't on yet. Todd brought this up. Abdul Carter is sitting there at 3. Do you offer both our second round picks for Abdul Carter?
No.
Todd, you brought it up. Would you do it? I do not do it. I
would do 39 and 72, or I would do 39 and something from next year. But I don't think they're looking for that. But I think there's a chance if the Giants believe that Shedeur goes to 10. maybe they're open for business there. And, Carter, I mean, I know you love Travis Hunter, and you watched all the games, and I didn't. But Carter at an insanely big dollar position is, one of the safest bets in this whole thing. I expect him to have a very good career. But if I'm the Giants, I'm sticking and picking on that. If I've got to deal something next year to get back in at 9 or 8 or whatever, if I want to do Shedeur, then I figure out a way to get that done, and I still take the top edge rusher in the draft.
You can talk me into taking 10 and trading up and giving them my first round pick next year before I'd be willing to part with those 2 second rounders.
Next year's first round looks great. This year's first round is just it's 3 or 4 guys really. It's Hunter and Carter and Genty, and really everybody else is kind of a crapshoot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we were going to trade up, to get somebody, what I'm saying is I would rather give up 10 and a first round pick next year to trade up to get whoever we was trying to trade up to get. I'm not willing to do it for Genty, but for Graham, Travis Hunter, or Abdul Carter, yeah, I would do it. But to me, doing it for Genty when we can get running backs that can help us just as much, no.
I do not trade up for Genty either.
So
in any circumstance.
Is Graham falling our best case scenario? I mean, I think it probably is, right?
It all depends on what.
Yeah.
I mean, Shedeur is the guy. He's the linchpin in all of this. If he gets drafted in the top 10, then it starts throwing people at, and people start moving down, and then you have room for people to make deals. But you had said something about Hunter. I'm just going to tell you, he's that dude.
Yeah.
He is not even at a position that we need right now. But if the Chicago Bears traded up and took Travis Hunter, I'm ecstatic.
Then Tyree Stevenson's learning how to play safety, because that's what you have to do now. Because you were an idiot last year, you need to learn how to play safety. Probably free safety. You can run and you can hit. You can come up and cover. He just needs to.
But I honestly think that Travis Hunter is a better wide receiver than corner. The way he tracks the ball when it's in the air, able to attack it in the air at its highest point. He has the best hands I have seen since Calvin Johnson. The dude is electric in the open field. The only thing that kind of gives me, he doesn't have that blazing speed.
Right.
But you start talking about a guy who can run routes, who can get open, and if you throw the ball in his vicinity, he's catching it.
Yeah. Most of these teams are looking at as corner first, but not Cleveland. Cleveland is wide receiver first. That's what they're saying anyway. I don't know. I guess they're going to take him. That's what everything.
Yes, everybody has Hunter now mocked to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Cam Ward is number 1. Hunter is number 2 to Cleveland, and Abdul Carter is number 3 to the Giants. I think New England is
which
where
I think is stupid.
I think New England is where all bets are off. I mean, he's been mocked. Will Campbell's been mocked to New England a lot lately at number 4. But I think if somebody really wants Shedeur Sanders, that's where you got to go, to number 4. That way you're in front of everybody else who might want him.
I don't see anybody trading up to get him. I think that in a must-win season, unless you telling me you got plans with your second-round draft pick for the New York Giants to pass on Shedeur Sanders, it's just asinine, and everybody deserves to get fired.
Would you play? Well, Clarence, let me ask you: Abdul Carter, Shedeur Sanders, which one would you take?
I'm taking a quarterback. That's what you need.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, and I'm not thinking twice about it. I would rest easy on that. I mean, this is the same team that let your running back go win the Super Bowl. And you're in a. He's already told them. He told the general manager and he told the head coach they have to win this year. Why in God's name, at the premier position on a football team, would you pass up on a quarterback who just won the Giant Unitas Award for being the best quarterback in the league? Why would you pass him up to take a defensive end when you ain't got nobody to throw the ball? Don't talk to me about Russell Wilson, and don't talk to me about Jameis Winston, who loves to throw the ball to the other team. You need a quarterback.
And they've got a problem. If they take Carter, they've got Brian Burns, who they're paying a fortune to, And then they've got Kayvon Thibodeau, who they drafted high just a couple years ago, and they've got to decide on if they're going to do the 5th year with him or not. If they take Carter, they probably try to move Thibodeau, and they're going to get pennies on the dollar for that because everybody knows that's what they have to do. So maybe a big bluff, and they may take Shedeur, and the Patriots will be thrilled, and they could take Carter, and that changes.
Didn't they? What's the guy who was with the Panthers who went to the Giants?
Yeah, Brian Burns. They're paying him a fortune. And then they've got Thibodeau. So this will be their 3rd, and it's going to be, big dollars because you're taking him, 3rd in the draft. It's not cheap. And
that makes no sense. That's what I'm saying.
That's way too much money allocated at one position. They'd have to dump Thibodeau for what, a 5th round pick? So just nothing,
Well,
and we could be waiting for a move like that too. I mean, because Thibodeau could definitely help the Chicago Bears. Brian Burns could help the Chicago Bears.
Thibodeau came around last year. But he's been disappointing, but he's starting to put it together.
So with that being said, let's head into our final thoughts. Todd, you are the draft guy. We're two sleeps away from the draft. What are your final thoughts about our Chicago Bears or the NFL draft?
I think this potentially could be a crazy draft. No, there's not been a 1st round pick dealt at all yet. I don't know. It's so there's 2 or 3 or 4 blue chip players in this draft. Anything can happen, and I'm looking forward to it. Been studying it for a while.
So my final thoughts are. Let me finish my intro. So guys, if you're watching us, thank you, and thank you for the comments. Please tell all your family, friends, and fellow Chicago Bears fans all about us. You can find us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I'm just ready for the draft. I'm actually ready for it to be over. I've seen so many mocks. We've talked about so many mocks. I've been mocked to death. And truthfully, I think nobody knows what's going to happen. I think this is the biggest wild card of an NFL draft I've seen in a long, long time. But hopefully, whoever we draft for number 10, or if we trade down, it makes sense. That's all I ask. Make it make sense. Don't go out there and draft a kicker with our 1st round draft pick. Make it make sense for the love of God. I think we're going to do that. I think Ben Johnson hopefully will help us make it make sense. So Chicago Clarence, the bad guy, what are your final thoughts? Well, how's your blood pressure? Is it up here, down here, up here, middle? How you doing?
Well, it's a lot of different ways. My favorite basketball teams is giving me pause, and I can talk about the Atlanta Braves, and they have won 4 straight. So, but I'm going to stick to Chicago Bears this time, and this is the reason why. I've been watching football with you guys for a while now, and you my guys. I love you guys, and I love watching the games with you, and we're going to travel to Chicago together and do a show, and I'm looking greatly forward to that. But it's hard not to get excited about Ben Johnson. I've watched the interviews with this man. I like the way he's talking. I like his approach. And it just doesn't seem like lip service to me. No, we've seen Matt Nagy, we've seen Matt Eberflus, and this guy seems to know what he's talking about, and the plans that he's talking about make sense and how he's going about it. And you've already seen some of that. I just don't want the Chicago Bears to fall in love with thinking that they have gotten their weaknesses fixed, and now let's go out there and look for style points. We need to continue with the plan, and I'm excited to see what that looks like on Thursday night. We 3 will be together, Lord willing, and watching it unfold. But I'm tired of not. I mean, it's been since 2014 since we've won a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's time for a lot of these things to end, and I think that this is just another step into making that all possible. And I'm excited to see how it unfolds.
Well, let me ask you guys something. Know what we know about Ben Johnson? He's an offensive guy. That's no secret. Is it going to surprise you if we go Warren or Genty at 10? Is it really going to shock you? It's not going to shock me at all. I'm going to lay it out there. It's not going to shock me. I'm not going to be surprised. We have 5 minutes left. Todd, is it going to shock you if we grab the shiny toy at 10?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, if Genty's there, going to take him. But I think if we put the numbers to it, percentages, what I think the best shot we've got is probably Warren at 10. I think
Yeah.
the Jets probably go offensive line at 7, and the Panthers can't do it at 8, and who knows what the Saints should do Shador. So that was if Warren gets past 7, he should be there for us, and I think they would be real interested in that.
Chicago
And I
Clarence?
think he'd be a starter because I think it's going to be a lot of 12, and I just think he'd play more snaps than Kmet. So I think that solves the starter thing.
And I love Warren, and he's so good that you could play him in a receiver, you could play him at slot, you can line him in the backfield. He did that at Penn State. So Chicago Clarence. So Ben Johnson is the offensive coach. We know this. That's a fact. Is it going to shock you if he goes a shiny new toy at 10? Whether it's Genty, Hampton, Warren, are you going to be shocked with a shiny new toy at 10?
I would not be shocked, and it would be one of those things where I would just say, okay, we're going to see what happens, because Ben Johnson just seems to know what he's talking about, knowing how to call plays, but not also know how to call plays. He knows how to build plays.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes, when you start talking about personnel, he's just not a play collector like Matt Nagy was. And then you say, okay, well, Matt Nagy, the way you drew this up makes sense, but your personnel was stupid. I don't think we get that with Ben Johnson. And if he took, Tyler Warren, and I watched Tyler Warren play, and you guys didn't watch a lot of college football. I did. The guy is electric.
Yeah.
And he would be a matchup problem.
Yeah. I actually like him more than I do Genty.
And either the backs would be the starter too. So I mean, get that limit. If you take a guy at 10, they got to start. I mean, if it's Hampton or if it's Genty, they're going to be the number one back immediately. So
yeah. So with that being said, until next time, thank you for watching. Peace.
See you guys Thursday.
Yep. See you.